parts and hated parts later. But I'm gonna talk about the chemistry back in
I mean, that's always my feeling. They expect, the little pause.
Yeah, we just gonna have to wait. I hope they know by now. Damn, it's not even showing up. Anyways, this is the Sports Den brought to fuck. This is big.
I see other podcasters do the same thing. I'm like, what are they doing?
Like messing up the how do you
Like, I gotta share something. I
Yeah.
really don't even understand.
Anyway, like this is the next phase of everything that I'm doing. I'm gonna have a nerd with a computer that sits there, and their job is to just share the fuck out of this
We got
everywhere.
Rain Man back.
I need actually that's just my goal. I need y'all to listen. I want everybody back. Y'all keep talking about Denny. And I want Denny back too. But damn it, I need Rain Man. Rain Man does what I'm doing now. I never realized how hard Rain Man's job was. And Denny was controlling everything, and he took advantage. He took it for granted. I'm out here trying to put Rain Man just gave us links, like 1,000 links to be able to talk about shit. And all I had to do was just show up. Now I got it's better because I have an idea of what I want to talk about. But damn it, man. Rain Man was good, dude. So, anyways, this is Big Games BS brought to you by Den Media Group, presented by TheHumidor.com. TheHumidor.com is the go-to website for all things tobacco related. Get your cutters, get your lighters, that's what we call your torches. Basically you can fill the stuff to fill your torches, humidipacks, humidors, boxes of cigars, over and over again, guys. Just all kinds of different things for you to cope with, including and then ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. This is stuff that's good for when you have a weekend like I had, where it's just frustration. And which we'll get into that here relatively short. But if you go to thehumidor.com, you can type in Sports Den at checkout. You know what they're gonna give you? 20% off. And if you go in there and you do something else monumental, which is what was I gonna say? You buy over $150 worth of tobacco, you get free cigars. Man, y'all gotta forgive me. My mind's a little spacey. This morning has been crazy. These last couple of days have been crazy. Outside of the football realm, where the schools you cover or your favorite schools, lose, which shit happens. The bigger thing is I've just had a very active few days. The hurricane came and went. I'm probably going to be doing some stuff for Fort Myers. I got a friend, one of my not mentees. I'm the mentee. Mentor played at Florida State before I went there. A guy named Hinton Goo Battle is from that way. He was telling me some stuff. We're going to be raising supplies. So again, I always tell people fiscally, the reason why we raise money fiscally is because we can do a bulk buy. And with the bulk buy, that means we can get stuff for a little bit cheaper. But we're going to raise resources. In particular, we're going to try to get some waters down there because even when they get everything kind of cleaned up, they're not out of the woods. This water, they need water for everything. And they got to boil water. They're going to have a boil water advisor for a while because everything is messed up. The sewage is into some of the water supplies and blah, blah, blah. So basically a lot of shit that they need help with. So we're going to be doing stuff with that. But I'm really a single dad right now. It's just me with a lot of help. I mean, it's tough, man. Killer is my favorite, but he's stressing me. And Trey is like arguing with myself every fucking morning. So, but before I get into that, I want to really announce our newest sponsor, and we're going to weave them into this week's show. But the next week, we're going to really have a specific segment each show where we're going to try to dedicate something to them. It's Alpha Male Clinic. Alpha Male Clinic Jax, here right across the street from us. We share the building, the other side of the building. It's a male health clinic, 24-hour health clinic. And it's just crazy. Like men right now, you're suffering with your confidence. You're letting these people break you down. Fuck that. We're gonna have a 2022, the rest of the year, 2023. We're gonna have some bold ass men coming out in this world, and we're not doing that red pill shit. We're not doing all this other stuff. We're literally going to do it because we're do it the right way. Now, this isn't their. This is the cleaned up version of their quote. Now we're gonna see some. You're gonna see some stuff on our social media pages with them doing stuff. So basically, an infomercial. But I'm gonna walk through the process. I'm gonna show you how to get that stuff back. Even guys like me need a little bit of cleaning up. I want to look good. I want to feel good. But she says, perform your best. Nah. Look good, feel good, fuck good. That is the slogan that we're going with Alpha Male Clinic. This is for men and men only. We do have executive med spa for the ladies over here, so we're not leaving you out. But basically, you can go in the same time. Lady, get your stuff done. Man, get your stuff done. And there's some things. All you hear these commercials talking about ED and stuff like that, man. Yeah, some of it ain't just ED. Some of it's you guys just lack confidence, and you just want to look a little bit better. You want to lose a little bit of weight. You want to get a little bit stronger. You want to feel younger. You want to feel that vitality. Like shit. Everybody needs a little bit of help sometimes. We ain't finna like do these weird. You hear it like blue, like you know what, Miles? You know what changed my thought process on Blue Chews?
What?
It's Big Jaw in them. Big Jaw has these skits where he's basically like the lady's coming over here saying she need a fix, and he's like, you know what happened last time, sweetheart? Last time you came around, you couldn't walk for 5 days, and now you. But she's like, but I need it, and then next thing you know, Big Jaw pops a Blue Chew, and he comes in, and it's more relatable that way. It's like when I hear, I don't feel like picking on this guy, but like when I heard my guy Hacker doing Hacker here, get you some Blue Chew, and Hacker is built like a Christmas ornament. Like I can't relate to that. But seeing Big Frank, Big that was a Big Hurt, like Frank Thomas talk about wanting to get some more testosterone. Seeing Big Jaw talking about, man, this is just a performance. Performance enhancers are nothing more than helping you give more than 65%. So ain't nothing wrong with that. I think
people younger than me who started using it. It's becoming not an old man's game anymore.
Yeah, it's not that you need it. It's just that you're really trying to set the tone. So we're gonna go with that. But my weekend dealing with Trey, dealing with Logan, dealing with Killer. 3 kids going to Tallahassee. We had the game. I'll be honest with you guys. This is why I'm going to try to bring back the big game experience. I got sideline pat. I don't think anybody on this planet gets to experience FSU games the way that my son does, including me. I saw somebody put on Twitter, how can y'all be jealous of your children? Easy. My son lives a hell of a life. It's crazy. Like everything I've ever wanted to be, he gets. Like he's on the sideline. Everybody's dapping him up. Everybody's stopping him, talking to him. You would think he's the one who actually went out here and played goddamn football for Florida State. But he's out here living his best life, going to watch the Wake Forest game. Wake Forest game. He got Champions Club seats. He got a chance to do the little walk out through the tunnel. He was just running around all over the back, behind the scenes stuff that nobody else gets to do. And what I'm thinking about doing is letting you guys experience the game like the way Trey does. If you notice there, that was Coach Norvell talking to the referees, telling them, watch out for Wake Forest. Those motherfuckers hold. Like you're going to see, he's telling them, watch out, they hold. Watch out, they cheat. And they didn't listen to him at all. But Trey's just walking around oblivious to everything, and everybody's just, they all know him. He got the hookup. He was flirting with Miss Edie. Miss Edie was like, gave him some Champions Club tickets. And so he didn't have to sit out in the elements, which it was a beautiful day. I appreciate everything that Florida State did by letting the people get more tickets, by letting people do some different things like that. Student section sold out. Great vibe, great experience. If you didn't see the latest release, they just announced that the FSU Clemson game will be at 7:30 p.m. In Doak Campbell Stadium on ABC, October 15th. Make sure you check it out, and you know what that means. If it's a night game, you know what that means. a pop-up tailgate if you can find it. Lot 19. We'll have the link up sometime today. So Trey got a chance to experience, but I don't think I'm bringing Trey to another Florida State football game for quite some time. The reason why is the last Florida State game Trey went to was against Jacksonville State. I'm starting to believe it's him. Maybe he's bad luck. I'm going to not bring him to any more games. Well, I'll bring him to Louisiana Lafayette, but he came. It was a good game, and I will say this: Trey is able to help keep things in perspective for me because I don't like losing, but I also know I can't blow my lid with my not because he's watching me. He's watching me and how I move, and how I move is so much different than everybody else. I think my dad's watching Miles. That wasn't me. That James Coleman. That was actually senior. That's actually senior. That's him. That's senior. But I can't really pop off because when I want to get mad and I want to curse, there's this 9-year-old looking at me like trying to see how I react. And if I react bad, then he's going to react bad. And now the cycle continues. But it was funny, though. There's been some good trolls and some good shots that have been given to us. One of the kids I coach, Andre Whitfield, put up one of my favorite Key and Peele skits is Obama. And it's funny because it's true how Obama deals with black people when he's bumping them up, as opposed to when he deals with white people. And he put the unranked community welcoming FSU back to the neighborhood, and I couldn't even help but laugh. But basically, Miami and Florida fans are just like, yeah, y'all were ranked for a day, now you're back. Well, let's go down and break down the game because I didn't get a chance to do a post game because I have my son, and I didn't get a chance to do a Jags post game. So basically, today's show, that's what this is. So if you're not an FSU fan, I'm sorry. I will break down Florida's dynamic win over Eastern Michigan State or whatever the hell they played later. But I've got some good, bad, and ugly about this FSU game that just happened. One, Wake Forest is one of the oldest teams in college football. Now, this is more of a Russell Crowe at Adam Fuller, I think with a few L's, put that they would be the 7th oldest team in the NFL. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but I will say they are very old. I think it was something like 35 of their players are 5th, 6th, and 7th year seniors. And now that's true from a source. I can't fathom being in, like, as a 7th year senior, you basically have a lot. You should be graduating from Wake Forest Law School. Like, that's just some of the things. Like, so it's like playing Wake Forest when they're good is the equivalent of going to the NCAA tournament and finding that team that's making that run, but they're full of 4th and 5th year seniors. Like, they're just older than the more talented younger teams, so you can get a more savvy game. It's like playing the old man in basketball. Like, you're young, you're running around dunking, and all he's doing is bodying you, jump hooking you, like playing pick and roll defense. Real solid, just old. Like, these are men. Like, it's tough. It's tough when you're a young 19, 20-year-old playing for yourself against men with mortgages. Like, this man, they don't practice anymore. They have internships at Caldwell Banker, or they've got, like, they're getting ready for Wall Street. Like, this is just, it's different, the value systems. But overall, it was a good game, and it was a game that I thought could have got out of hand. FSU didn't run anywhere near as many plays. They dictated. They won time of possession, and if you've listened to me, there's 2 things that's going to win you a lot of games: control the running game, control the clock. You're going to win. But Florida State almost averaged 7 yards a pop to Wake Forest's 5 yards a pop. I believe it was 6.8 yards per play. Wake Forest at 4.8. But here's what FSU messed up. It was a little bit in game management, which again, we've been talking about this every week with Mike Norvell, is game management. So, and special teams. We've missed so many kicks this year. I have no idea what's going on with our kicker. People have asked me to go speak to him. And I said, guys, listen, you don't want me to speak to kickers. The last kicker I spoke to, I kind of messed him up.
Yeah, so let's not do that.
I don't want to do that to this kid. We kind of need him. Like, we're good. But when to end this first half, we're driving and we're playing. You can see that we're playing for a field goal when we should have went for the touchdown. The touchdown would have cut the lead, made it 7 points. It would have been 21-14, I believe, going into the second half. And then they kick the ball off to them, and your defense is struggling. For those who don't know, like, our defense could not really get the grasp of what they were doing, of what Wake Forest was trying to do. They have this interesting RPO. We call it the slow mesh. And it's like literally, like, I don't have as a offensive player and as a coach, I don't have the patience in watching them do it. It's like I would be so afraid to do this. You know what? Hold that thought, Artemis.
I like that name.
One, this just sounds very.
Artemis Stringfield.
Yeah, that sounds like. Is that your real name? There's no way that's your real name. But I want you to hold that thought because I got a big head. I got a lot of anger in my heart. But it's because I'm about to, because you know what? Fuck it. I am going to do this. Might do it for the NC State game. NC State game is at 8 o'clock. Matter of fact, if you're in Jacksonville, Florida, I'm going to talk with Scott. We're going to host a watch party here at Goodfellas Cigar Lounge for the FSU game. We'll be here. We'll come back here and kick it in the VIP lounge. Might have to pay a little bit because I'm going to have some food. I want to make sure you eat it. I want to make sure you do. Because I want y'all to watch football with the guy who knows football. Because I don't understand what you're seeing or what you're watching and if you're processing it enough. And I think it's a lot because of these pencil necks that have never done anything are telling you how you should enjoy this game. I don't understand how you could watch that game and be afraid of anybody else on our schedule. You played against Sam Hartman, who's considered one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, and you held him to his lowest offensive output this year. You're playing against an offense that everybody struggles with. And the only reason you lost was because you had 11 fucking penalties for 96 yards. And for some reason, their offensive line just does not know how to hold. If you look at the defensive ends, every time they set that they're getting ready to go stop the play, a guy just turns. That is a prototypical hold. If the defensive end is going in one direction, somebody pulls you here, you should give this. And if you've looked at Wake Forest in the last 4 years, I'll go last 5 years, they have won way more games than us. Wake Forest in the last 5 years is not the Wake Forest that I played against. They're better. And then you added COVID, and I just let them get older. And they got 2 6'5" wide receivers that are pretty good. Guess what? Our guys just got dunked on. Shit happens. Got dunked on. They were in position, though. There was one big play that was made, big mess up that was made by Little Bro. Little Bro picked the wrong person to cover, should have covered the running back in the flat, and he got wide open. It was that happened. That happens. But when you look at it, the second half of football that Florida State they came out flat. 2 drives. They came out flat 2 quarters and a drive. They came out and they scored on that first drive when Mike Norvell didn't go for the gusto. Should have went for the touchdown. And we missed the field goal, a chip shot. Then you go out and they come down and they drive. Wake Forest went the entire third quarter and almost the entire fourth quarter without scoring. That means the defense literally figured them out and stopped them. They stopped them numerous times. Wake Forest scored 10 points in the second half. Florida State just couldn't get out of the way. In fact, one drive, number 76, and I hate to put this on you, Darius Washington. I still got faith in you. You got to develop, but you got to mature. This happens. This is what happens in film room. I needed so many creative ideas. I don't want to copy Mr. Go 30, but basically what I think would change the dynamic of today's young men is if we did the film study the way they used to do. You had team film, then you had your offensive defensive side of film, then you had your seg film. But what they need is a big team film, and you circle that motherfucker. One drive, 76, literally fucked up the offensive scoring. That, and then number 9, he was really sure-handed. Lawrence Toafili is normally our more sure-handed guy, but he had a screen that he just dropped. I believe it was Toafili. Had he caught that bitch, that thing was housed. We had every opportunity to win that game. But when I'm watching social media, I am watching people panic and balking and talking as if Florida State got beat by 21 points. I had to check myself because I'm just sitting here like, yo, what the fuck is everybody talking about? And the 9-year-old is the one who made me realize this. Dad, they played well. They just didn't finish. This happens. Now, Deion, you know what? I hope Deion has success. Deion Sanders is not coming to Florida State. I can promise you that.
We got love for you, Artemis. He said he's coming to the.
Deion's not coming to Florida State. But it's not. Yeah, this isn't my bad. This isn't geared towards Artemis. It's geared toward a lot of FSU fans that just see this as a loss because there's nothing else. There's like NC State is good. We knew that this was going to be the stretch. In fact, everybody coming up to it was like, if FSU could somehow split the first 4 games, go 2-2, we knew people were saying that these 3 games right here, you're likely to go defeated. So the fact that Florida State came into this undefeated, I think there was one person in America who was like, I think FSU could actually go into this game undefeated. And that was the guy that everybody says hates Mike Norvell. There's not a team on this schedule that is scary enough. I don't call me crazy, but I think Florida State beats NC State and Clemson. Excuse me. I believe we beat NC State, lose to Clemson, and go undefeated the rest of the way. But that being said, I still believe that this Florida State team is good. I don't see anything that makes people be fearful. Again. So I am not a guy. I've been told this. My biggest flaw in my life is that I'm not a man that's ran by emotion. I'm a guy that's ran by logic and facts. So let's go look at the facts of what happened in this game. The fact is, we lost. And that happens. But this is the true facts. The box score a lot of times will tell you exactly what happened. Now, Sam Hartman, 22 for 34, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Good game. Jordan Travis was 23 for 35, 281 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The quarterback, we had the better quarterback. Now, here's what happened that Wake Forest hasn't been able to do, and it was it was a big play. Is Ellison ran for 114 yards, their starting running back. Then their other running back ran for 64. They had 171 yards on the ground. Now, granted, it was 51 carries. They could not get off the field on third down to save their lives, but it was just the facts. Florida State, I don't think we broke over. We got just over 100 yards, 112 yards. Now, Micah Pittman, the one I told you I was going to have the breakout game, had the breakout game. Now, let's look at who we did this with. We did this against a good Wake Forest team, a very good coach Wake Forest team. We did that without Jared Verse playing for the most of the game. Jared Verse was hurt. We did that without Fabian Lovett, one of the best D tackles in the ACC. We did that without Robert Scott, who was our starting left tackle. We did this with banged up players. If you flip this now, and that's not including other players that are hurt, and you did not get your behind whooped, and they got down and they fought back. Again, no fucking moral victories here. Just the reality is Florida State had every opportunity to win this game. So I'm not excusing the loss. Mike had some pretty piss poor in-game decisions that I would really love to sit back and I want to know what the thought process was on that. But I'll tell you this too about Mike Norvell. This is what I said in the beginning. Mike Norvell came to Florida State with 4 years of head coaching experience. This is his third year there, so he's 7 years. He was a coordinator at Arizona State, and Arizona State ain't this kind of Power 5 over here. He's a young coach, and he's growing just like these players are growing. Y'all are the ones who try to make, just because Mike got gray hair, make him older than what he is. Mike, my fucking age. And you know what I do a lot? I fuck up a lot too. And it's easy to get caught up in the emotions of the game. We turned the ball over. Jordan Travis had a fumble. Jamie Robinson is still playing lights out. I don't think enough people talk about how good he is in the in tackle and making the tackles. But we had guys get dunked on, and that shit happens, man. It happens, man, in football. Again, that's just the stat. This is the facts, guys. The fact remains is that you should have won this game. If you're a Florida State fan, you didn't. Let's go again. Let's zoom out a little bit more. 4 for 40. That was the penalties that Wake Forest had. 11 for 96 is what Florida State had. 1 turnover. Time of possession, 34 minutes and 32 seconds for Wake Forest. 25 minutes and 28 seconds for Florida State. That's how you lose a game. Total yards, 405 yards for Wake Forest. 393 for Florida State. I'm just God, well, like what about this makes you, what about, help me understand the fear, right? Help me understand the logic of, oh, what was me? Like, let's go. Like, nah, man, chill out. Let your nuts hang, baby. I kind of wish that Jordan Travis would run more, but I don't know what's going on. I think that's the most valuable weapon that he has. And some of the drives we stalled were when he was trying to be more of a quarterback. And it's crazy is because he's doing a fucking good job of that. But nevertheless, moral victories are for minor league coaches.
I love that line.
Florida State lost. And to quote one of the greatest philosophers in our time period, Forrest Gump. That's all I got to say about that. But now Micah Pittman after the loss. And this is where this is what gives me most times, this is how you know a team knows that they let him off the hook. Micah Pittman, who had a game, again, one of the scrappiest players. I like the way this kid plays. This is the best team I've ever been a part of. I see the potential in these guys, and I don't think these guys understand how talented each other are. As long as we can continue to build our confidence, it's going to be something special. I agree with you, Micah. I agree with you. Now, the thing that pisses me off the most about this game isn't the game in particular. Oh, and Terrence Mumford put that up. That's a great question. I think we are. I need y'all to start doing a mailbag. Some of y'all inbox me some of these questions. I got to start writing again. I need motivation. So, like Terrence Mumford right there. Are you ready to give up on Cooper and play AZ Thomas more? I think so. I will say this. Somebody, my son, I took the boys to the barbershop today. That's why we were starting off with the dialogue. I had to go to the dentist, and I was being super dad and shit today, but whatever. AZ is going to be that guy. And I do think if we had, they got to put him in more positions to fail so that they can trust him in the tight games. So I think a lot of the reason why he hasn't played more is that Cooper was in position for the most part. He's just getting dunked on. It's like if you put AZ out there, is AZ disciplined enough to even be in the position? But that being said, the kid is dope. I think it's time. Sam McCall got dunked on against Boston College in mop-up duty time, so I'm not sure yet. But it is time to start playing some of these young guys, man. I ain't even gonna lie about that. But here's what I'm mad about. We've had this situation at Florida State where a guy who was building, I think they got the contract back because there's no such thing as cancel culture, people. You can be fired, but you can't be canceled if you're good. If you're not good, you can be replaced. So here's what I mean by that. Guy dresses up in blackface, Bob Marley, poor taste, don't really want to get into it, loses his contract, gets his contract back. But everything, blackface is bad. We've talked about this on this show. If you feel like you're going to dress up in blackface, I'm going to tell you it's never ended well. That being said, as African Americans, it's going to be a constant theme here. We got to know when something's blackface, when something's not, or if it is, or if we're not sure, we have to be able to really look at this and be like, if this, go ahead and post a picture, because I'm going to tell you, I only know that this is why I'm 85% sure this isn't blackface. Never 100% sure about anything. I do know somebody said that they interviewed this, they saw this kid. The neighborhood I live in, and people talk about what about black on black crime anytime you say anything racist. I am probably one of the few African Americans in this world who has a higher probability of being killed by a Chinese person or an Indian. Obviously, white people too. My neighborhood, I am one of maybe, 5 miles?
Yeah,
5 black families in my neighborhood. You know what I have a ton of, though? Indians. We actually call it the World of Nations Publix that I don't go to. It's not because it's bad Publix. It's just the Publix that's right around the corner from me. I like it a little bit better. It's a little cleaner, a little different. Doesn't smell like curry. I happen to like curry. So do Indians. But I don't want to smell it when I'm in my Publix. I know what an Indian looks like. It is the wildest thing in the world. They are darker than me with straight hair. But if you tell them, what's up, brother? I am not your brother. Don't you come with that brother stuff to me. They come dark. It's not like everything. And if he is doing blackface, I'm gonna tell you this right here. If he's not Indian and that's blackface, I salute this kid.
Yeah, damn good job.
Because that's the best job of blackface that I've seen.
Real.
But you know what? Using deductive reasoning, which is what some of you fail because you're so ready to be mad at the world, right? Ah! Even the tweet, my guy T Black is looking for something. Is this y'all fan base? Look at him. We're going to play the racism game. The University of Florida, who he's a fan of, the same school that had fucking Confederate helmets, like in the Gator Bowl. Like, come on, guys. We're at a PWI in the South. You know what all PWIs in the South got? People who are saying run, nigga, run. Like, they hate your guts, won't let you date their daughter, but they'll come and they'll cheer the fuck out of you. The guy is Indian, man. Look at his lips. Look at his lips. Look at his lips. It was nice weather, but it was still Florida, guys. If he's sweating, it's going to break. Like literally, like you will see the cracks of the lips. You will see it in the eyes. That guy's an Indian, man. That's not blackface. I got news for you, man. There are dark-skinned people who ain't African American, man.
think this guy got to live his whole life looking like a racist.
Right. And now here's this kid that's just going to the university, doing what every other college student does, and now all of a sudden he's probably got doxxed because some of you guys are too overzealous.
I have no idea why the black people don't like him.
His inbox is full of hate stuff, calling him a racist, which, you know, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Indians can be racist. Like, they can. But not because of this.
I have no idea what he is.
Because I'm gonna tell you this again. It's kind of like Robert Downey Jr. in one of my favorite films. Damn, I can't think of the name of the movie. One of the Tropic Thunder. Arguably, if it could not be made in today's climate. And that wasn't even that long ago when it was made. Arguably one of the most racist movies of all time. Not because anybody was purposely trying to. It literally played into every stereotype of everybody. Tom Cruise is playing your stereotypical Jew in Hollywood or moneybacker in Hollywood. I didn't even know it was Tom Cruise until somebody told me. Robert Downey Jr. is playing a Australian actor who wants to play a black man. Like, tanned his skin black so that he could play it. The black man is a rapper who's closet homosexual. It's starting to become more true now with rappers. But, like, I'll say this. He played it so well that I never even thought about it. It's almost like it's better than the dude in White Chicks. It's just, you know what it is? If he's that, I want everybody to read this book. It's a book called Black Like Me. Actually, Miss Colombo, my white English teacher, who also taught me African American literature at my high school, made me read about this book. And it was about a white man who wanted to understand what it was like to be African American in the South during the 60s. So he actually literally went and medically tanned his skin so that he could live as a black man. I mean, if you want the Cliff Notes, he ain't have fun. I can tell you that much. But again, man, I just want us to sometimes take a step back and not be ready to racism, because there's real racism, guys. There's real shit that's going on. I'm sorry. This ain't it. That ain't it. That's wild. It's still just one of the wildest things in the world. But again, man,
he is so black. My God.
I envy his skin tone. I want to be that dark when I grow up. I've tried suntan lotion, baby oil. Nothing works. My skin ain't getting that dark. But check this though. To the next thing, college football in general is just simply out of control. Out of control. And what I mean by that is, you have, if you will, if people have taken my black card because I defended an Indian, if you would so be kindly to give it back to me. We have a bunch of old white men, and the people who follow old white men, typically older white women. But I got some my pilgrims are cool as fuck. I gotta get the shirts cold ass pilgrims, get my caps, but it is. But they know what it means. Those who are for it, and those who are against it are against it. But I'm sorry, it's being silly today, but we'll argue to the death. The death of college football is paying athletes. NIL. I'm never going to watch it again. Ironically, you guys are predictable. The NFL pulled your card years ago. Like, you said you were going to boycott it when Kaepernick playing, and all the ratings have done is go through the roof. But that's what I want to put up right there first. That one. You say that kids getting paid is going to be the death of it, but college coaches getting paid millions and millions of dollars to coach a game isn't what's going to kill it. And it's not so much just that. It's the fact that when these guys get fired after a year or two, after they've recruited a bunch of young men and talk to their mothers and sweat. Because I'm going to tell you, recruiting ain't nothing but running game. You're basically macking. You say, I'm going to see your son graduate. I'm going to make your son a man like me. I'm going to be his father away from his father. That's what they always say. I'm going to make sure he in church. I'm going to make sure he doing all these things. But they fire these people like that. Not just your taggers of the world. Excuse me. But all guys. And then you know what they do when they fire them? Like when my mom got laid off, let me rephrase it, forced into retirement. They didn't give her a good package. And if you do have a good job, you're lucky to get a couple $1,000s, maybe tens of thousands of dollars if you got a good job. Very few people are getting fired and getting like $17 to $20 million. But just over the past few weeks, we have seen colleges already get scrapped this year and next year by firing a coach and probably trying to start a hiring firm, which means they're going to have to pull a coach from another place and destroy them. What do I mean by that? Georgia Tech has fired. He should have been fired, but they fired him not because he's a bad coach, because he is, but because he wore pedal pushers and he had an ankle bracelet. And that's on Jeff Collins. We used to pick on him all the time on the sports day. I don't trust men who do that. Like he dressed like an African, but he was white. He was an old white. You know how the Africans, Miles, they wear them really skinny dress pants, and they got like the dress shoes or whatever. No socks. And that's what he had like an ankle tattoo. That's what it weird and creeped me out. They fired him. Wisconsin fired a really fucking good coach in Paul Chryst. A coach who's like, I think is average 9 to 10 wins a game at Wisconsin. When's the first time you heard of Wisconsin being in the national championship picture? Because I sure as hell don't remember. They're already talking about, they've been firing Auburn's coach since the summer. Like, there's so many coaches that are being fired. But the problem isn't the firing part. The problem is the buyout. The college football buyout industrial complex is not good and exists in some parts because money has to funnel somewhere. It's not going to labor. Obviously, this is true. Also, the game is the game. Wisconsin was dead ending and got a Big Ten TV bag. Of course, this is fine when you can fire Paul Chryst. They can afford to do it. Florida State fired Tag in 18 months. I forgot. Mississippi fired their coach before they brought in this guy in 18 months. Mississippi State's been on numerous coaches. The University of Florida just got done paying Dan Mullen. Texas A&M is talking about there's rumors that they're in the process of potentially trying to buy out Jimbo Fisher after just upping what he's going to get paid per year. Is this situation fiscally sustainable for the long term? Is it fair? How can you consistently go to the court systems and say we cannot pay these student athletes, but consistently find money to pay $20 million to this guy to not work, and then another $30 million for a few years for this guy to work? Either it's good, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, or it's not. And what Wisconsin's doing right now is borderline Nebraska-ish. Paul Chryst running Wisconsin, 3 division titles, 6 of 7 bowl wins, 3 top 15 finishes. He's won 72% of his games. That is crazy. That's asinine to fire a guy who's won 72% of his games because he's having a down year. You're at Wisconsin, bro. That's success. Now, they do have a really, really good coach in Jim Leonhard. The Kansas coach, I think, is from Wisconsin, not the university, but played somewhere else there. There are prospects that they have that they believe that they could get to move forward. But at the end of the day, is it better for you? You see what just happened with Notre Dame. Now, Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go get a job at LSU. Notre Dame promoted the defensive coordinator to the head coaching job, but you saw a clear drop-off in what the production has been. Nebraska fired Bo Pelini after he had an average of 9 wins a year. And Nebraska hasn't been relevant since. You don't fire unless you know you can hire up. I always tell people my problem wasn't hiring Mike Norvell. I just know Mike Norvell wasn't the first choice for Florida State. Because you don't fire a coach early in the season to go hire a group of 5 coach that you allow to finish his season out. You fire early so that you can hire and bring them in. Because all you're doing is causing instability. All you're doing is creating bad press. I just don't understand. Or you go into this situation. Texas A&M record through 53 games. Kevin Sumlin was 37-16. Jimbo Fisher is 37-16. In order for Jimbo Fisher for the rest of this season to be better than Kevin Sumlin's first 5 years, which everybody said that he was going backwards, Jimbo would have to win the next 5 games. Because Sumlin was 42-16 through his first 58 games. Now, this is who Jimbo Fisher has for him. Number 1, Alabama. South Carolina, that's a winnable game. Number 9, Ole Miss. Florida and Auburn, which are all toss-ups. The odds that he goes 3-2 are as good as he can get. Now, this is what happens when you fire a coach without having somebody truly good in place. And when you, especially when you have a coach that's a little bit money hungry. I put out a tweet earlier today. Is Jimbo Fisher really just Larry Coker with a comb over? And Larry Coker is the Miami Hurricanes former coach who won a national championship with the University of Miami with extremely talented players. But nobody believes that he was good. I think Les Miles is a better coach than Jimbo, and I've always told people this. Is the model sustainable? No clue. I want to get into Jags talk, but I guess I may have to do that. I might have to just do a Jags post-game pod for you guys because we're getting long. But my hate o'clock is this. My hate o'clock is black people in general. And it stems with...
Dangerous. We so dangerous today.
Yeah, it stems with a little bit what we just talked about, the Indian kid. I need to find this video, Miles, because it's not just black men. It's black women, black culture, my woke friends, because I don't like using woke as like a bad term like people use, because I think there are real issues that we all deal with on a day-to-day basis that need light shed on it. I'm about to actually email this to you now, Miles. But if you can, but while we're doing that, the first one, if you have it up, it's really in how we treat each other, and that's why I have an issue. I want to read the tweet from AT. AT is a guy that sometimes I have beef with the way he thinks. I like him. Sometimes he goes very simp. Sometimes I think he's very intelligent, very, very intelligent. I think he uses a lot of words sometimes, and he uses words that can trump people up. And I know what lawyers do. He's not a lawyer, he's an accountant, just a very educated brother. But a very well thought out and educated statement that's false is still false. Happens in court all the time. We see people lie in court all the time, and it doesn't get through. But just click on AT's tweet here, and then we'll go to it. It's like, damn, bro, the power of attention. We've been infighting for 2 weeks, exacerbating the perceived problem with angry viral tweets, and we missed the feature on a much larger platform a month earlier. Now, if you go to the video now, Miles, now what he's talking about is the University of Southern California now has a majorette program. The majorette program is led by an African-American student. And she's going out there, and they're putting a lot of publicity into it. Now, what tends to happen at HBCUs is the only time you get woke and you care about shit is when it's not giving you light. Mind you, FAMU goes to Paris every year and gets all kinds of stuff. They do inaugurations. We know about these people. We know about this stuff. And the key underlying principle was, why is she getting all this publicity, all this press at USC and they're not shining light on the African American, on the HBCUs. The HBCU culture, the same HBCU culture that a lot of you guys have weak infrastructure that you only support when it's convenient, that a lot of black people who went to PWIs actually support because we know how to do multiple things. All of the attention that got brought to the USC situation literally failed to recognize that ESPN, which they don't just do these things like on a weekend. ESPN heavily edits. They take their time to go study and film and produce this stuff. ESPN did a feature on, I believe this is Southern's Major Red Troop, which the young lady says she gleaned her inspiration from. Mind you, it's black people arguing about a black woman leading an all-black majorette group at a predominantly white institution. Like, predominantly white institutions don't have black institutions on it. Like, you don't make this argument for the black Greeks, your AKAs, your deltas. Matter of fact, you don't make this argument when there's a white delta at a HBCU that's pledging. You don't talk about people stealing your culture when it's your culture. How can a black person steal the culture of a black person? When is it okay for me to be black and be black unapologetic? Some people are like, well, what happens if Becky Sue wants to join it? The same thing that happens when Becky Sue wants to be an AKA. The same thing that happens when my guy, T.O., who my youngest son is named after, wants to decide that he wants to be an Omega. You go through the process and you have to be selected. You go, you do the work. The same thing that happens when white students get more financial aid for going to an HBCU than they would for a PWI. You go out there, you earn it. We did all of that energy fighting each other for the dumb shit just to get put on, just to get your shit screenshotted and hopefully put on the shade room because you felt like you said something deep that you didn't even use that energy to promote this. Millions of views on numerous tweets. And this right here, I believe, only had like 121,000 views. And most of us didn't even know it. Did you know that there's an entire fucking Netflix special on HBCU majorettes? I didn't until somebody put it on there. If you took the energy that you use to disparage people to actually uplift and promote the things that it's meant to do, you would be shocked at how this algorithm works. You would be shocked at how much pressure you will get. You would be shocked at how great your world and life would be. But instead, it's easier to sit on your little perch and chirp as opposed to be proactive and go out there and look for the positive. It's the same thing people do when they talk about what about hunger? What about this? What about that? What are you doing about it? It's a time to educate people. But here's the real reality. I grew up on an HBCU campus, literally born and bred. I've talked about it numerous times. It's why I have a passion for HBCUs. I didn't find a fucking HBCU and spend 4 years there. I spent my entire fucking life there. Still go back up there. Still promote. Still help. Still serve. Hell, right now I'm wearing this is just on accident. I'm wearing a fictional HBCU gear right now. I wore it at my spring game. As opposed to just saying, you know what, it's dope that somebody who looks like me wants to emulate the HBCU culture and take it to a PWI so that more people can know about what we go through and it brings more light. You chose to hate. You know what it's like? It's like when all y'all say every successful black person is in the fucking Illuminati. Without even understanding what the Illuminati was actually, never mind. It's formed in it's a Danish. Anyways, whatever. But the point is that if you knew what the Illuminati was, you would know it's damn near impossible for a black person to truly be a part of it. And the way some of y'all talk, if it was that easy to be in the Illuminati, all you had to do was bend over and take it, 90% of y'all would do that. As opposed to saying that, you know what, hard work, effort, and dedication should be what the go-tos are. Everybody takes your culture anyway. You let Leora Cohen dictate the culture. You let the hell, if you really go back, you look at HBCUs and how they started, guess what? White benefactor. Doesn't take away from the fact of it doesn't take away from the cultural significance of what it means. I could see if this was like Bring It On and you saw an all-white dance group and they literally emulated everything you did. But what you did was you just argued and some of y'all really went after with such vitriol over a sister. But yet, these are the people that you want to big up, Miles. If you can pull up the other video, though. So I'm hating because of this. Now go check out this thing on the Southern Dancers. I will put this. I'll try to put that link in the description so that you guys can watch this if you're doing the YouTube and all this other stuff. But you'll do this, but then you'll have these fake ass woke ass moments where it's just disgusting. I have no idea what, and you can just go straight to the video, Miles. And I want to listen to it too, because like it's basically a woke chick talking, basically downtrading and at a barbecue, demeaning some other women that are for whatever reason listening to her. Have no idea why they're listening to her. You're at a barbecue. You should eat whatever you want to eat at the goddamn barbecue, in my opinion. Barbecue plate gonna get ate. I can tell you that much. But go ahead and play it.
They put this on my plate. I will not. I don't do what they do. I do what I do. I'm a leader. But I would never eat a plate that looked like this. You couldn't pay me $1 million to do that to myself. Oh my God! I deserve better than that. That's low vibration. And you took it. I would have been like, I'm playing like that. I tell you what I want. You don't tell me what I want. So my thought process is, if you can put it on my plate, but I don't have to eat it, I got the distance. I won't even look at it. That make you look bad. I'm a queen. Queen's plate can like. If we have two plates, we play together. And so who's royalty? They would say this person. I agree. That's a good way. This is serious my shit. Yeah, because there's a lot of people that just let people give them what they want them to have, and they accept it. And Storm is teaching me right now. Yeah. Cold Storm is teaching me, don't accept what they put on your plate. They put this on my.
I'm so angry.
Like, first and foremost, I'm learning women in social media. Right? There was this thing that went out a couple weeks, like, are you the leader in your friends group? Like, women like started to talk like, and a lot of men were like, where does this come from? Like, none of us hang out and be like, oh, that's our leader. We got to go do what our leader says. But then I see this and it puts everything in perspective, and I start thinking about, oh, there is a head hen in the hen house. So this is what y'all women meant when because y'all women sometimes go through stuff on your own and then try to put that off on us. That's not how we operate. I got a bunch of friends and we all independently think. When you go on, if you don't believe it, go on a vacation with a woman and see who the person is. See who she got to go chase behind, and then you'll find out if your woman is the leader. I don't want to mess with the beta hens. Give me the head hen. This though is what gets people in trouble. You listening to stupid ass motherfuckers, birds, if you will. Now, for those who are listening to the SoundCloud and not on this chick is at a barbecue. One, steady making all kinds of talk, sounding like Michael Irvin or Jameis Winston when he eating a W. She's over here smacking with her nasty ass hands, talking about her plate is a better plate than somebody else's because it got a couple pieces on there. It says if somebody came here and wanted to know which is the plate of a queen, which one would they pick? Bitch, I'm the queen's feast. I want the girl who looks like she's eating and having a good fucking time, and not the one who's over here looking like she's trying to be cute at a fucking barbecue.
Low vibration.
And she said the words, when we would get over this phase with the moons and the rocks and the low vibrations and the high vibrations and oh my God, I'll be so the Mercury and the Powerade. I would be so happy when we get over this time, man. I tell you this much right here, she's not welcome to a tailgate. Because if I see you as a woman come to my tailgate and you can't enjoy my boy Shannon Cheeseburger food, I think it's something wrong with you. You are weird. Get the fuck on. Leave for me, heifer. It's so much so that this is why we always ask. Like, I'm such a simple dude. I ask women all the time, when y'all put all that makeup on, who you putting the makeup on for? Because all the dudes that I roll with don't like all that fake shit. The fake I have yet, ladies, I'm gonna give you some free game by big game. If a dude tells you this, he like the same things that you like, and I ain't talking about TV shows, and I ain't talking about food. He tastes his words. I have yet to see the day come and say, man, that girl would be cute if she had some longer eyelashes. If a guy come up to you and say, ew, you ugly, but your eyelashes not long enough, I promise you that guy tastes his words. That guy likes what you like. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just telling you, don't waste your time unless you want a guy that's bi. There's nothing wrong with that. Live your truth. But just, I'm letting you know this. 90% of the shit that y'all do ain't for us. It's to impress the other hens. The problem is you're going for the cocks, but trying to impress the hens. And that ain't how I go. But yet, y'all the judge a man say, oh, you just want money so you can show off with your friends. You want to do this. Is y'all gay, blah, blah, blah. Look at this. You got the blind leading the blind. Meanwhile, this dude's over there looking like, man, Shawty over there tearing that rib bone up, man. I want to see what that be like. Man, y'all take advice. Y'all take some of the, not just y'all, we as a people. That's why I said black people are my hater clown, which, by the way, is brought to you by Green Acre Sporting Goods. Go to Green Acre Sporting Goods and make sure you go get your Glocks, get your 9mm. I'm going up there this week to go get me some stuff. It's just time. It's that time of year. Black Air Force season. You come around my house with some ashy black Air Forces looking to get a come up, I hope you got life insurance. That's all I can say, because I hope it's worth it. But we're going to get all of that stuff. We're going to start doing some more videos. Go hunt your deer, get your ducks, get your geese, whatever. All kinds of stuff going on. I know in November is black powder season. Like, not white powder like what Michael Irvin and them do. Black powder where you can like hunt with the muskets and shit. Which I want to shoot a musket. I ain't never shot a musket. I just want to know what it feels like. But a lot of you guys are being led by people who are using a bunch of words that don't necessarily mean anything.
Mean nothing.
And I don't understand. My guy Jason Brown says, coming back, bringing us back up to FSU stuff. He's like, Big Game James, what do you think about Jordan not keeping the RPO? I think teams are targeting our running backs and not playing Jordan right now. What's your thoughts? I'm thinking that Jordan Travis is starting to act like DeAndre Francois. If you remember what I used to say about DeAndre Francois probably has about 20,000 kids floating around this world because DeAndre Francois don't pull out for shit. He stay up in that pocket and never pulls out. I think it's time for him to start pulling out. Sometimes you got to pull it out. You can't stay up in there. You can't get in. Sometimes that pocket gets real warm. You reading that backside. You're looking at that backside too long, and you stay in there too long. And you know what happens when you look at that backside too long and you stay in there too long? Bad things happen. You can't pull out quick enough. So I think he needs to pull out. I think he's probably being told to not pull out. So, I can tell you this, man, pulling out is important for young men. You got to know when to pull out. Don't fall in love with the hole and not pull out. That's my advice for any young man that's looking to play football or play life. Pull out. Gotta have my pull-out game's immaculate. I've only not pulled out 4 times, and I struck every one of those times. So one time, unfortunately, that person's not here. But Jesus. That well, no, it wasn't no abortion, no Roe v. Wade on that one. Just didn't have it. I'm just saying, pull out. If that lady's parents would have pulled out, that girl would have been able to enjoy her goddamn plate. So that's what we need to do, man. Pull out on an open field, man. So on that note, man, I appreciate you guys chopping up with me. Make sure y'all check out all of our. If you need your pullout game, you don't need a pullout game if you're not feeling confident. Check out Alpha Male Clinic so we can get you confident, so that you can be able to be strong in the whole. Also, check out Green Acre Sporting Goods. Please support all of our sponsors, specifically during football season. It makes your life more fun, makes it more efficient. Appreciate you guys chopping up with me. See you guys on Wednesday. Hopefully, my week is a little bit less hectic. Peace.